Hi, it's Dr. Laura Grace back again to talk about spiritual dreams. How do you know when you're having one, and what kind of message are they trying to convey? You know, there's different levels of dreams. We've talked about this in other videos that I've created. We've got the physical realm, when we know that dreams are trying to show something that's happening at the level of the body, even as much as telling us when there's an illness that's beginning to manifest in the body that we're not yet aware of. Because remember, again, dreams are the unconscious speaking to us. All right? And then there's the level of mental dreams. These are dreams of conflict. And this is the majority of dreams that occur. Something that's going on in our life that we're not really conscious about, that the dreams are trying to convey. It could be issues around a relationship, your work life, around money, you know, all the different areas of our lives. But today, we're talking about a really unique realm of dreams, and that's spiritual dreams. This is a type of dream that has an incredible effect on us. It will leave like an indelible mark on your soul, but they're not very common. When do they happen? Well, they tend to happen before you go through a significant change in your life. You'll have a spiritual dream. And we're going to get into what those look like in just a moment. They also happen prior to a shift in perception that you're experiencing about your life and your sense of self. They also happen when you're going through some kind of loss. Like, I'm going to share an example in a few minutes about a woman who had a powerful spiritual dream as she was going through a painful time in her life. It was the ending of a marriage. They also happen when we're going through something like a recovery process, or when you're entering some form of spiritual practice like yoga, or maybe you're stepping up your meditation. I remember having a series of spiritual dreams this like 25 years ago, when I really made the commitment to get really serious about my spiritual practice. And I began reading a variety of different spiritual paths, learning about Buddhism and Hinduism, because I have a great love for interfaith teachings. And I like to see the golden thread that weaves all these different religions together, because at the top of these religions, they have a very common purpose. So these are usually when spiritual dreams are going to happen, all right? And they're very vivid. And when you wake up from a spiritual dream, there's usually a feeling of wholeness, you know, and deep inner peace. And life makes more sense. You know, as human beings, we really like to know, we have this yearning to make sense of everything that happens, you know, even like as we're in the middle of I don't know about the middle, but we're still in the pandemic of COVID-19, right? And there's all these different conspiracy theories that are flying around. And it makes sense when you understand the psychology of how we as human beings like to work. We like to have an answer for what's happening. It's very hard for us to accept random acts, right? And to not have a specific answer and proof as to why something's happening. So spiritual dreams happen, and when you're done having them, it often helps you make sense of your life. It's like you're able to see your life from a higher perspective, right? You'll be able to rise up above the situation or the challenge that you may be having, because often spiritual dreams do happen when we're going through you know, a difficult time. You're able to look down at your life and say, oh, that's what's going on here. There are bigger lessons in what's unfolding, and everything really is happening exactly as it's meant to happen. But when we're so in it, you know, right, sometimes we just can't see why it's happening. So one way to know you're having a spiritual dream, of course, is to look at the imagery in the dream. So there's certain archetypal symbols and themes that show up that are very common, like maybe a cross or a mandala. The mandala or a mandala, a labyrinth, you know, stars, moon, symbols that no matter where you're living on the planet, these have a similar understanding. They have a similar meaning, right? So they're archetypal. But other ways to understand a spiritual dream, and I'm going to get into a dream in just a moment here, that talks about this, is to understand the different energy systems, right, that we experience. So we know many of you are very familiar with these teachings of Eastern teachings of the chakras, of the 7 energy systems. When you're having a dream, you want to notice if any of these different energy systems are showing up. It's very helpful. So for example, the 7th chakra or energy system resonates to the color violet, right? This is a sense of I am that shows up. This is the part of us that aligns with our divinity and our with nature, and with, this is the prayer center, you know, in states of higher meditation. This is the energy center that we're connecting with, right? It's the crown chakra, it's violet. If we kind of work our way down, you know, and I know this might not be new for any of you, but I want to review them because they're really important when it comes to understanding your dreams in the spiritual realm. When we come on down to the 6th chakra, we're looking at the 3rd eye, the seat of our intuition, your imagination. We're resonating here to the color of indigo, a deep, deep blue. This is a sense of I see. I can see clearly what's happening, and it makes sense in its own spiritual kind of way, right? When we move down and we come down here to the 5th chakra, or the throat center, we're talking about the seat of communication. When this chakra is open and not blocked, then we're able to speak our truth, right? We're not afraid to set boundaries. We could speak our truth lovingly or firmly, but with respect, right, and compassion. And this is the area of I speak. I speak. So I am, right? I see, I speak. And then we move down to the heart center, and we move into the I love. This is when we're not blocked. The heart chakra is open. We're not holding on to grievances or resentments from the past. We let that go, right? We move through that. And when the heart's flowing, we feel that loving connection with all living things, not just one special person or a few family members, right? We're feeling that love and that connection. You know, I felt that today before creating today's video. I was on the beach, walking along the Pacific, and feeling this great affinity in my heart for the marine life that I was seeing. There were some sea lions out there and a sea otter, and there's that sense of connection that we're all in this life experience together. Then we move down to the 3rd center. I don't know if you can see this on the camera, but we're talking about the solar plexus. So I'm moving down to the area of the solar plexus. This is the center of I can. This is about the sense of self, right? Your sense of self, the seat of your self-esteem. This is I can, I'm capable. This is when you really are owning your own power, right? And you know what your strengths are and what your purpose is in life. And then we move on down to the lower chakras, like the 2nd chakra around the abdomen. And I know this isn't showing up on the camera, but I'm down around the area of the belly button, a little bit lower than the navel. This is a very powerful chakra also, because this is a place of I create. And we talked about this in other videos that I've made, that your creativity and your sexuality are very closely intertwined. And this chakra is so important because it's also about our sense of connection with other people. This is a whole relationship area. And so when this chakra is blocked, we have issues around control and manipulation and power games and jealousy and all that stuff that really blocks the heart chakra, the ability to really be able to love deeply. And then we move all the way down to the lower chakra. You know, at the base here, we're talking about the root chakra. This is a sense of I belong, I matter, I deserve to be on this planet. I'm here for a reason that goes beyond maybe what I was taught when I was growing up or by what society tells me I'm here for. I'm here because I was born. I have a heart, a soul, and my life is valuable and important. So this chakra, we're talking about the color red. different colors of red showing up in your dream time, you want to take a look at what might be going on in this energy center. And then again, the energy center above it, the second chakra around the abdomen I just talked about, we're talking about the color orange. I don't know if you can see these flowers, but I've got some beautiful flowers. I even have on the color peach. So we're talking the color of orange. And that solar plexus chakra, the third energy center, that resonates to the color yellow. I know there should be some yellow maybe showing up. So coincidentally, this bouquet of flowers has all the different colors of the energy centers that I'm talking about, except for indigo. All right, so I want to share with you a dream that someone wrote to me about a while ago. And this is a person, it's not a very long dream, but we're going to break this dream down, and I'm going to show you the spiritual qualities coming through this dream and the energy centers that this particular dream aligns with. So she writes, I am playing with a boy I used to know when I was a child, around 4 or 5 years old. We're standing on top of a hill, and as I look down, I see a pond near the base of the hill, and there is a purple fish in this pond. It stands out because it's a very unusual color for a fish. We're taking turns running up the hill. And the fourth and final time I run up it, I look out onto the field that the hill stands on and see the sun and a full moon at the same time. She writes, I'm amazed to see both planets shining so brightly in the sky at the same time. And as I watch and wonder, the moon slides down toward the sun, and the sun slides up or moves up toward the moon. And as I keep watching, they are now completely aligned. It's like they're right on top of each other. She writes, I yelled to my friend to come join me so he could see this incredible sight. And when I wake up, I feel light and more optimistic, and notice the clock says 4:14 a.m. She writes, this is the exact time of my birth. She was born at 4:14 a.m. Now, when we look at this dream, what are the significant dream images? Well, first of all, you've got a hill. You've got her childhood friend, a boy that she used to play with when she was really young, just 4 or 5 years old. You see the pond, a body of water. You see the fish, purple fish, and the sun and the moon. Now, so when we're writing down a dream, you'd want to go circle or underline those particular dream images, because those are the most powerful images that really speak out in this dream. Now, during this time that this person had this dream, she told me that she was going through a very painful divorce. There was a lot of grief coming up, and she was carrying a lot of pain because she did not want to break up her family. But she also knew she could no longer stay in this relationship. And I believe she had a couple of children, young children. So this is a really painful time for her, all right? It's not surprising a dream of this magnitude shows up and has this impact. I mean, this is a dream that may not sound like a really big deal to you, but the feelings in the dream and the feelings of just incredible awe that she experienced in this dream and when she woke up, and the deep, deep level of peace that it gave her, we know this isn't a physical dream. It's not about the body, and it's not a mental dream of conflict. We are walking now in spiritual waters. So if we break this dream down, we see that the hill, she's playing a game of running up the hill, right? They're just taking turns running up the hill. So running up the hill could show her ascension of moving from a place of darkness into her life toward the light. And light always means awareness, understanding, yes. It also could show her that she was ready to see her life from a higher perspective. She's up above. It wasn't a big hill, but it was a hill that was up above where she had a pretty good visual perspective on the land around her, right? So maybe she's able now to more clearly see what's going on in her life, as painful as it was, what was happening, and see it from a different perspective. We also see that she's playing with a childhood friend that she said she felt quite close with when she was really young. So also this dream may be conveying that she's going to be embarking on a time of having more play, right? More childhood energy and childlike fun in her life, which had been seeming and feeling really heavy and hard, because ending a relationship is never very easy. Also, we're talking about the water. Now, bodies of water in dream time are very, very important to notice. And we want to notice the size of the body of water. This was a pond. We want to know the clarity or lack of the water. We want to notice if there's anything in the water, and there was this purple fish that really stood out because it was purple. So if you have water show up in dream time, pay attention to what it looks like, the size of it. Is it clear? Is it murky? Is it muddy? Are you in the water? Are you looking at the water? So in this dream, with what she was going through, we see that there's a lot of feelings coming up. Clear water in dream time often signifies some kind of spiritual cleansing that we're going through. And when we got, like, maybe if you have big water showing up in your dreams, like tsunami, ocean-like waves, or big, like Great Lake type waves, then we're looking more at emotions, and maybe turbulent emotions. So the pond shows up. And then we find in this dream, and I want to go back to that purple fish for a moment, because the fact that this fish was purple, we know from what I just shared with you about the different energy centers that the crown chakra resonates to the color violet or purple, right? And so we know that she's processing at a higher level. And she had mentioned that during this time, because of her grief, her pain, her sadness, she felt it was time to get some help in therapy. So she was starting to enter the waters, the therapeutic waters of trying to make sense and work through her feelings and process them so they didn't become stagnant or they don't get stuck, right, and block us. But then we also, and she was also, I want to make mention, had told me that she was starting to increase her spiritual practice. She was beginning to explore different spiritual paths, and she had never done this before. She had grown up in a certain religion, and she was ready to go to something that made more sense to her. It was more about a spiritual path, not a religious one. So see, this is why we're seeing the crown chakra show up, that purple fish. And then we see the sun and the moon. And what does she say in this dream? The moon is sliding down toward the sun's moving up to the moon until they're right on top of each other. And you can imagine a full moon sitting on top of a full sun would be an amazing sight to see. When you have dreams like this, you know you're in the spiritual realm, and it's really worth drawing out a picture, if you can, when something that beautiful and magnificent shows up in dream time. It's not a common occurrence. We don't see it here in waking life. This was really telling her a few things. First of all, the sun, we've talked about this before, is solar. It's soul. It's the masculine principle, right? It's the energy, the life force that keeps us going and energizes us. Moon, we know we've got Luna, we've got the divine feminine. In this dream, it's showing that as she's leaving her waking married life, she's bringing about the marriage of the feminine and masculine aspects inside of her. She's aligning in ways. This is the great marriage of the anima and the animus, the masculine and female centers. These are the principles, the aspects inside of us that we're all on some level. When we talk about the path of individuation, which is Dr. Carl Jung, this is the term that he used, which he believed all humans are moving toward. This is the purpose of life, moving toward becoming an individuated person where there's no separation of aspects. Everything's being integrated, right? And we become a whole, W-H-O-L-E, complete, aligned person. And so it's a very spiritual path when we're talking about individuation. And she had that show up in dream time. And it's no wonder that when she awoke feeling very inspired and very optimistic, because she was really going through a rebirth. And that's why when she woke up, she looked at the clock, and it said 4:14 a.m. So see, everything in your dreams means something. There's no randomness to this. There's no, strangeness to dream images. Everything in your dreams have a very significant meaning. All right. So again, as we wind down, I want to encourage you, when you have a dream, notice if anything of those 7 energy centers, the chakras, are showing up in your dream time. If they are, then you can hone in on which energy center, psyche, your unconscious, is trying to bring into your awareness to help you get more clarity and make meaning of, right? And maybe look at some blockages in those energy centers that your dreams are trying to help you understand need some attention. All right, so again, when we have spiritual dreams, there's a feeling you're going to have that's going to be very prominent. It's going to be above average. It's going to leave a big imprint on you. You're going to remember this dream maybe for years to come. They're very powerful. And then look and see if anything from those energy centers are showing up. Colors are showing up. Is there any specific dream symbols that show up, like the sun and the moon, different archetypal imagery? Is there specific feelings that are really powerful in this dream? And notice how you're feeling when you wake up from a spiritual dream. Because they're meant to bring a sense of strength and purpose and grace into your life. That's what they do. They're beautiful, beautiful dreams to have. And again, we don't have them all that often. But when we do, they really stand out. I also want to mention, as we're winding down, to check out my website. I've got more videos on dreams. I'm blogging and then creating videos, vlogging a couple times a month. So go to lauragrace.net. And I'm really excited that I have my brand new book, 2nd edition, with new information coming out, Dreams, Soul-Centered Living in the 21st Century. This book, finally, COVID really slowed down production of this edition of this book. I had this book released back in 2018, and then a publisher picked it up, Beyond Books in the United Kingdom, and asked me to flesh it out, add more. So I did. So now this book is available through Eon Books in the UK. It's available on Amazon. It will be available November 30th. We're on the 15th, so I got a couple more weeks to go, but I want to bring it to your attention because everything I talk about on these videos is in this book, and then some. All right, so again, check it out at lauragrace.net, vlogs, blogs, and check out the book on Amazon. And I want to thank you so much for joining me again on this video on the illuminating realm of spiritual dreams. Thank you so much, and namaste.